Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining, following Jayapataka Swami. And in today's episode, we are very fortunate to have a very senior disciple of Srila Guru Maharaj, His Grace Simheswara Prabhu from Malaysia. I'm really happy to be talking to you, Prabhu, today. Thank you so much for giving your time and joining us
Hare
in this following Jayapataka Swami talk show, as we call it. And a lot of people know you around the world as a senior disciple of Guru Maharaj. And today we just want to talk to you about some really some things that a lot of people don't know. And because I'm from Malaysia, I am privy to some information, some things about you, some things about what you have done for Guru Maharaj. So I have put them in questions, and I'm hoping that we can cover all of that today in our session. So Hare Krishna Simeshwar Prabhu. Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Yeah.
Yeah. Prabhu, can you first of all tell us how when was the first time you met Guru Maharaj?
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Jayapataka Swami Namane. Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Padayane Goragata Damadai Nagara Grantarine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasante Starine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you for inviting me to say a few things, what I know, what I remember, what I can recall about Guru Maharaj to your questions. As far as when I first met Guru Maharaj, that was in 1983,
Wow.
83 or 84 beginning, one of those. And that was the time I had come back to ISKCON after a break when in 1981 there were some issues. In 82, I think the temple got closed down and I was lost. And then, or 83, around that time. And for a short span, I was just in limbo. And then in 83, Thaipusam, I had met devotees, met Banu Maharaj again for the first time. Again, I mean, after the break, and His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Nandana Swami. And then I got back to ISKCON and met Guru Maharaj during that year. And that was an experience meeting Guru Maharaj because I was hearing a lot about him. And that day when he came into the temple, I was arranging some books in the bookstore with His Holiness Janananda Goswami Maharaj, that time Janananda Prabhu. And Guru Maharaj just opened the door and just asked, what's your name? And I introduced myself. Then he said, how's your chanting? And I wasn't chanting, and I just got afraid seeing Guru Maharaj staring right into my eyes. I couldn't answer, I couldn't lie, I was just fumbling, no words to say. And Guru Maharaj turned his back and walked up. And from that day, I chanted my 16 rounds actually. Before that, for years, I wasn't chanting, I was just reading books and others, but only because of Guru Maharaj, I started my serious chanting.
Wonderful, Prabhu. And it's so amazing that you say this because I must mention this in public, if I may call it that. The reason I started chanting more rounds was you. Because I remember when I first used to come to the temple, I was chanting maybe one round, one and on and off. And one day you asked me, so how many rounds are you chanting? And I was like, one round. And you told me, why are you so greedy? Not why are you so greedy? Why are you so stingy? I think. Yeah, it must be. Yeah. I think you said, why are you so stingy? So yeah, it's so amazing that that you kind of pass that on, and I'm sure you yourself inspired many others to chant more rounds. And I remember after that day I started chanting 4 rounds, and then
Right.
subsequently I increased my rounds. So thank you so much for that, Prabhu. Prabhu, I had few other questions before I wanted to
Yeah,
ask this particular question, but because you brought up issues and all of that, maybe we can jump straight to that before we go to the other questions.
yeah,
So I have seen you, like, handle so many issues, because any yatra, it's not just the Malaysian yatra, any society, will go through a lot of problems. As long as there are people, there will be relationship issues, there will be, so many types of issues. And I've seen you go through them and you work together with Guru Maharaj in all of these things. So can you tell us a little bit about Guru Maharaj's approach towards issues management, generally, from your experience?
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Uh, the time when I joined ISKCON, I came to ISKCON. That was
Mhm.
about 82, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh-huh.
Then 81, I had my knee operation. And during that time,
Oh.
actually during that time, because I had about 2 months or so holiday because of my knee operation. So
Mhm.
I used to come to the temple taking advantage
Uh-huh.
of that. So
Yeah.
that's when I came back. So like I said, the issues were there with the GBCs, and then when the temple was closed, so I was in a limbo. Then that time I heard about how Guru Maharaj was dealing with the issues that time,
Mhm.
and it was because of Guru Maharaj and Bhakti Charu Swami, Bhanu Swami, Prabhu Vishnu Maharaj, and all that. They managed to bring ISKCON back to its proper legal registration. And in
Mhm.
83 onwards, then that's when I met Guru Maharaj. And
Mhm.
Guru Maharaj's way of dealing with issues, of course, is always unique. It's not the same all the time,
Mhm.
so it's very expert. Every circumstance has a different way how to deal with it.
Mhm.
Specific way, rather specific. It deals with everything in its own way and solves it. And we will think sometime it's not going to be resolved. It will so scare because when issues comes, it is so scary that
Mhm.
many of us we just like we it goes 24 hours on our head, and we just can't find the solution. we
Yeah,
get
yeah.
we, we go into every degree and we just can't find the solution, but Guru Maharaj
Mhm.
comes and he just deals with it in a very unique way, just like how I saw once. uh, there's this Brahmin. Guru Maharaj was going to give Brahmin initiation, and we
Mhm.
had one thread, and that was the last thread, and the person going to take initiation. What happened to the thread was it was all jumbled up, and
Mhm.
they were knotted in between this way, that way, and I didn't know what to do. So I was there stuck, and Guru Maharaj is asking me for the thread, and I thought, what should I do? And I almost cut it, so that cutting it is the easiest way, and to pull it and put it back. Guru Maharaj said, just give it to me. And I thought, what was Guru Maharaj doing? And within about 3 to 5 minutes, he just took it out, and then it was all clear. All the thread came back to its normal. I was shocked
Wow.
that Guru Maharaj
Yeah.
is so busy, and he was able to just, put it back in its actual, the threads and the positions. So that's how he dealt with in all these issues, knowing its particular circumstance, issues, time, place, everything, and the
Mhm.
people. And that is Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, and it's so amazing that, I think what you said about this Brahmin thread, it's such a good analogy for how he actually deals with the problem, because everything is tangled up, and with his expert hands, he just straightens everything and everyone out.
Yeah.
It's really good to hear that. Prabhu, I know that I think many of us also know that when Guru Maharaj was unfortunately attacked in Spain I think in 1980s, I'm not sure which
89.
year, 88,
89.
89, yeah. So when he was attacked, I think by now it's kind of well known that you and His Grace Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu were one of his first disciples to arrive at Spain to see what's going on with Guru Maharaj. Can you tell us about that? Because a lot of people who came, especially who came after 1988, 1989, doesn't know about this particular episode in Guru Maharaj's journey?
Yes. Guru Maharaj was so important for us in
Mm-hmm.
ISKCON Malaysia. Very,
Mm-hmm.
very important, the personality. Because, like you said earlier, the issues we dealt with, we depend so much on Guru Maharaj on all the issues. There was this issue beginning with the first one I said. Then there came the other issues in '87 when two gurus left, and Guru Maharaj again. We had to deal with the issues, and the local temple president, he was tired, I think. Then he left. That's when I had to take over. I had to be given that service, and then. So we were very dependent on Guru Maharaj, very dependent. Not only us as grand disciples, but even we saw that his god brothers were all totally dependent on Guru Maharaj in
Mm-hmm.
handling of issues. They would all wait for Jayapataka Swami to come and then deal with the issues.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we were so dependent. And, we were all very young
Yeah.
that time, very young. Because one thing that I came to the movement, I was always very insecure, was that when I looked around, they were all young. All of us were young. I never saw old people. And I felt I was very insecure. Why is our movement so, no old? Whenever I saw somebody who is very old, I felt very secure,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And we all so young. So we all depended on, not that Guru Maharaj was old, but he was so mature in his thinking,
Mm-hmm.
spiritual, and we totally depended on him. So when this incident came, it was like a big blast, and practically we couldn't breathe. We just like thought we lost the world. And
Yeah.
we heard about it, the night, the early morning after Mangalarti, the call came. That was, I think, September the 5th,
Mm-hmm.
1989.
Mm-hmm.
And so this call came in, and then, it was shattered. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to announce it. I took the phone. I was the one who took the phone,
Mm-hmm.
and devotees were having breakfast that time. So I ran down, and I remember Janananda Maharaj was there serving out the breakfast, and there were many of us. So when he saw me, he knew something was wrong. He saw me. He saw me. He
Mm-hmm.
just saw me, and he came and he hugged me. He said, "What's wrong?" Then I just, I just broke down and told him that, and then he just consoled me, and he said, "Don't worry, Krishna is there. We'll start prayers."
Mm-hmm.
So everybody started praying and all those things. And so then, because the devotee on the other side in Madrid, he couldn't really speak English well, and
Mm-hmm.
I was asking questions and I wasn't getting any answers. So it
Mm-hmm.
was more difficult, it was more difficult. We didn't know
Mm-hmm.
what exactly
Yeah.
took place other than hearing emergency, ICU, hospital. When you don't have enough
Yes.
answers, it becomes more terrible.
Exactly.
So then, fortunately, that morning, then my heart was there. I want to go. And then His Grace Tyaga Chaitanya Prabhu, Sudevi Mataji, and the other god brothers around me that
Mm-hmm.
time, they all said, yes, you please go. They will get the ticket and get everything done. So Sudevi Mataji, of course, she was running a travel company,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so easy. She was there. She did everything for us, the
Yeah.
ticket, the everything, immigration. So we got it all done, and then so we left in the afternoon. Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu told he also would like to come. I was very happy that
Yeah.
Vrindavan Prabhu was coming together. So we left. I remember I didn't even have slippers with me in
Oh,
the airport. I was just barefoot, and Radharaj Prabhu saw me barefoot, and he gave his shoes for me.
wow.
he just he just gave me
Yeah.
his shoes. Please use this, and we just left off, and then we arrived in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, in Spain, the center, the yatra was going through some issues because their GBC and Guru had also left Bhagavan Goswami
Oh,
at that time. So
okay.
that was even, and then to make things worse, just before that, some other Swami, I think Ishwara Swami, had died in an accident. So they were in their mind, they were thinking that, oh, this our Spain is struck with some bad omens. The devotees were
Mm.
telling me they were so down. The whole of the
Yeah.
yatra was totally down, devastated. And Guru Maharaj, that was one reason Guru Maharaj went to Spain actually.
Oh,
He went to
okay.
Spain after these issues. Guru Maharaj went there to Spain, and they were so happy. And then now they see this happen, the third thing now, and they just like totally again devastated. There was the other Swami met an accident, the Guru had fell, and then now you have this Guru Maharaj, this madman had attacked Guru Maharaj. So I just had much sympathy for the devotees. They were all like, very, very, very down. So
Mm-hmm.
when I landed, but there was one or the two devotees, they were more together and was able to get help. That was one Devarshi, is a wonderful devotee, helped me throughout.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, we arrived in the Madrid airport on the 6th, and
Mm-hmm.
together we took a taxi. We just had to take a taxi right to the hospital. It's called the Hospital Central.
Mm-hmm.
And we made our way to Guru Maharaj room. Of course, I always like to tell the story how Guru Maharaj was, even in such a condition, it was just
Yeah.
one day after the attack, and he was inside the hospital room.
Mm-hmm.
And, when we went, both me and Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu and this man outside, a policeman was put in a station that,
Mm-hmm.
it was a police case. So
Yeah.
he wouldn't let nobody should be going in. So when we went, we negotiated, but he was no way, he was very strict and he didn't let us in. Then we said, you please inform that we are from Malaysia, and
Mm-hmm.
just inform that, we'll be happy with that. So he went in, and then after about 2 3 minutes, he came out and he put his foot down, gave a salute. He opened the door and he let us in. So we were a bit shocked. We just took opportunity and we went in.
Yeah.
And Guru Maharaj was blood all over.
Mm-hmm.
It was with hand stitched, like uneven, because his body is so big. I don't think they found a
Wow.
shirt or whatever. So they had hand stitched it, and was bleeding all over.
Mm-hmm.
Blood stains were there because they had put a hole through the neck inside to help breathing, and then the feeding was done through the nose. And we paid obeisances, and we were very, like, sad, of course. And
Mm-hmm.
then Guru Maharaj smiled and he said, how are you all? He couldn't speak, so he just wrote. He can only write that time, so because the throat was blocked. And then I asked Guru Maharaj, I was just, Guru Maharaj, yeah, we came in and this man didn't allow, but now he allowed. I asked this question, may I know how all of a sudden he's so friendly? Then Guru Maharaj wrote, he said, give me the paper, and he wrote, he said, I said, both of you have come from Malaysia, and Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu is from the Malaysian police, and he is coming as an Interpolice, International Police for the
Yeah.
investigation, sort of. So the man immediately, opened, and so Guru Maharaj, given in that state, is able to, solve problems easily, deals with things. So that was,
Exactly.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, then I wanted to actually go back. We talked to Guru
Mm-hmm.
Maharaj and, sort of massaged his legs. He liked it much because he was feeling
Mm-hmm.
very painful. So I remember
Mm-hmm.
massaging his legs, and then Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu said he has to go back. Then I was actually very sick, with fever and a little bit fever, but more cough, cold, and phlegm,
Mm-hmm.
because I couldn't take that long flight. So
Yeah.
then I told Guru Maharaj, I'll also go back and come tomorrow fresh, so that I didn't want my, phlegm or all these thing bacteria to hit Guru Maharaj. But Guru
Yeah.
Maharaj said, no, you stay back. He told me, you stay
Mm.
back. So I actually stood at one corner of the room, right
Mm-hmm.
up to the wall. I was practically against the wall, leg, and just I had to like hold my cough and all that, and for that night. And Guru Maharaj was happy that I stayed back at the, you know. And the next day I had rest, and then I was okay. And the next day onwards, like that.
Mm-hmm.
And of
And at
course, since
that
the
time, they
Spain
did not
incident,
have. Yeah. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Yeah, I don't know if the Spain incident, if I talk, it'll go long. I don't know how much I should talk on that,
I think you
since
can
you have
go,
other
you can
questions.
say a few more things. I think we do have time, Prabhu. Go
Uh-huh.
ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So then Guru Maharaj, of course, he was very cool and calm. Not once I saw him shout at me or,
Mm,
I was fresh, I didn't know what to do. I never did
yeah.
any nursing. I never did any care for. I was just a temple president, immediately young boy doing all these things. I didn't know any of these things. So
Yeah.
in fact, Guru Maharaj laughed at me actually. He laughed at me because for a few days he was there. There was no slippers. He didn't have any slippers. And I
Oh.
didn't even notice that. He said, "You
Uh-huh.
see, I'm walking without slippers. You're not even getting me a slippers." So of course, immediately I ran to the nearby, supermarkets or whatever
Mhm.
malls. I couldn't find a slipper that fits his feet.
Even in Spain.
Yeah. So I couldn't find, Then I just bought something whichever looked big, and I just brought it, and he
Mm.
just like flipped through it, and used. And then what happened was he uh, we started doing this program where he immediately the next day itself we said they are bringing in food for me, which is, they say it's vegetarian, but he found bones in it,
My
he
God.
found this fish bone.
You.
Yeah. Then immediately we got
Oh, I
the
think we.
devotees to Kulan had come.
Mhm.
Hare Krishna, we got
Yes, I think we're
cut
having
for a
some
while. Can you hear me?
technique. Yeah, now I can hear you.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me, Mataji?
Yes, I can hear you, Prabhu. Yeah, go ahead. I might have to change my spot, but yeah, go ahead, Prabhu. Oh, I think we lost him. I think we lost Simheswara Prabhu. I don't know what we should do because I think there is some problems with his internet. But
Uh-huh.
I think yeah, he's back. He's back. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Can you hear me now?
Okay. It said something like move closer. Yeah, I can hear you clearly. So you can
Okay,
hear me,
yeah,
yeah?
go ahead, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yes, I
So
can hear
then,
you.
of course,
I'm going to mute my microphone because my son just woke up. So he's going to
yeah,
make
it's
a lot
on.
of noise. Yeah. But
Okay.
you go ahead.
Okay. So then, Chudamani Mataji and another Mataji, I think two were there, and then they helped me. They got the cooking done. I would take the cooked items, and we couldn't bring food from outside, so we smuggled it in, and then we'll drop the hospital food into the bowl, and flush it, and then we'll serve the prasadam to Guru Maharaj. Up till on around September 9th, Radhastami, just around that time, September 9th, Radhastami, I think it's 9th or 8th September, that's when Guru Maharaj got his voice back. They pulled out the tube, and he was able to speak. And a day after, maybe His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj came, and then
Mm.
he asked Guru Maharaj, how's everything? Then he said, well, the food, he gave us food which is not. Guru Maharaj was very strict about recovering fast. So the doctors had told no salt, things like that. So he told, they're still putting some salt and all that. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj was very angry. He looked at me. He said, "What are you doing? You're a brahmachari. You should be cooking," he said. Then I just
Oh,
looked at
wow.
Maharaj and I didn't. didn't argue with him. See, he was very strict. He said, "You are a brahmachari. You should cook for your guru. Go and do it." So of course, I went and immediately got a hotel. Not 5 star. It's something
Yeah.
like our Jalan Tongko Abdul Rahman hotel. I got one
Okay.
of those. Got one of those, but the fortunate thing was right below the hotel, they were selling very good vegetables. There was a good shop, so I managed that, and I was cooking and bringing in go by bus, take the train, take the commuter. I mean, I learned
Wow.
all those things and rush to the hospital, bring in the food, give it to Guru Maharaj, feed him, and things like that. I remember one time the hotel man stays in the room opposite. The owner stays opposite to my room,
Hmm.
and there's not supposed to be any cooking, but he would hear some sound because I had to cook the chapatis, I had to cook the dal, and then I have to blend it together into like a liquid paste, a little bit more liquid than solid, semi-solid,
Oh.
but more liquid. I could only do that by putting my blender into the cabinet and closing the cabinet door almost close and blending it so that you won't hear the sound. But he would see from the other side. I can see through the window. He will be watching what is going on. I can hear something and we can smell cooking. And
Oh, okay.
I would just take it to Guru Maharaj and then feed him. And Guru Maharaj was okay with the cooking.
Hmm.
Many incidents took place. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, the other thing, the famous story of how Guru Maharaj wanted him to chant on his beads, on his and neck
Bra.
beads and all that, cut
Right.
it straight
Yeah.
off. So
Hmm.
Guru Maharaj hadn't chanted his Gayatri Mantra, so he said he was concentrating how he would
Yeah. The internet connection is
connect
pretty
back,
bad, Prabhu. So,
to Prabhupada. So he told Tamal Krishna Maharaj to please chant on the thread, and Maharaj chanted and told
mhm.
Maharaj detail. And can you Hare Krishna? How is
Yeah.
it now?
I can hear you, but it's going in and out. So it's a little bit difficult. But yeah, but I think Prabhu, I think it's really amazing that you told about how Guru Maharaj got his voice back on Radhastami Day, because I've heard that a lot, but there were no confirmation about that. And it's just so amazing how that happened, because, as a sannyasi, as a preacher, nothing is more important than your voice. And Guru Maharaj
Yes,
took sannyas on Radhastami Day, and it's almost
correct.
like Radharani herself is like, being merciful and, giving it back to him on the most auspicious day of her appearance. It's just very amazing to hear that,
Ex-
Prabhu. Prabhu,
Exactly.
can we?
I
Yeah.
I mean, in my personal feeling, I really felt that Srimati Radharani has got some very special relation and affection for Guru Maharaj. This is my personal thing that I, always felt that while I was there, and even after this, I just feel that maybe I think you have muted your mic.
Eh, Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was muted.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the Damodara programs. I think it started in Malaysia, and Guru Maharaj talks about it all over the world, and he mentions Malaysia. And you were, of course, there. I think Uttama Prabhu was probably the president at that time, but you were, of course, the regional secretary of Malaysia at that time when we started to do this Damodara preaching programs. So can you tell us a little bit about how the program was developed and what was Guru Maharaj's thoughts about it?
Yeah. So Guru Maharaj, when I was the president, Guru Maharaj was already speaking about it. We did the programs, but actually the person who took it up, seriously, and who really pushed it up was His Grace Uttama Chaitanya Prabhu.
Yeah.
He actually built it up very, very well. We did in a very small scale. When I was a temple, we did we couldn't vision, we couldn't see what he could see actually. And he took it up in a very grand scale. And I really appreciate that what we couldn't see. Uttama Chaitanya Prabhu had seen that. And he had special mercy of Guru Maharaj for the Damodara programs. And so he built up the Damodara programs and he made so many things, the tools, built up groups and things like that. So Guru Maharaj was very pleased with it, and Uttama Chaitanya Prabhu took it from just the temple, took it to people's houses, and just from people's houses, he took it to the malls, and even from the malls, he took it to public places where he invited politicians or dignitaries to come and open ceremonies. So things like this, it built up, and Guru Maharaj, and then he made it international. Devotees went all over the world and they started talking about Damodara programs. So like this, he built it up, and he always had Guru Maharaj mercy in this.
Yeah, the Damodara programs, I think now it's all over the world. Everyone is doing a lot of preaching on the month of Kartik, and it's so wonderful that it actually started from your yatra. I'm sorry. Okay. I will mute myself after I ask this question so that I can handle him here. Prabhu, we wanted to hear about Mahavaraha Prabhu, because everybody knows that Mahavaraha Prabhu is from Malaysia, but what most people don't know.
Don't worry about the competition behind. I'm not disturbed. I can hear you. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Prabhu. Mom life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we all know Mahavara Prabhu is from Malaysia, but what most people don't know is that he was serving under your guidance. And Mahavara Prabhu always talks about this. He always says that how Simheswara Prabhu helped him, in his spiritual journey. And he also talks about how you kind of encouraged him to serve Guru Maharaj as a personal servant. So you have seen him since he was 18 or even younger. And can you tell us a little bit about how you identified that fire of service in Mahavara Prabhu and encouraged it?
Okay, I'll tell you one very important incident where I was involved, and which I knew from that point that Mahavara Prabhu is going to be a very good leader and a preacher and a very good thinking person. This happened because at the time in around 1980, 89, 90, during that time we were making brahmacharis, devotees, and we had issues with the parents complaining to the police. So I had to go to the police station often, make reports and explain to the police that it's all okay, things like that. But in this case of Mahavara Prabhu, what happened was not only the police, we can usually handle the police, it's easy because it's all according to law. But when it came to Mahavara Prabhu, the relatives got involved. So Mahavara Prabhu's parents, Mahavara Prabhu's uncle, they brought also the local Hindu Sangam leaders whom we knew. Two top leaders came, two or three of them, because the story was we just took a young boy and then made him Hare Krishna without any consideration. So
Wow.
generally, I would stand by and I would talk. When there were few other cases, and I would just stand and I would talk. I will make sure that the brahmacharis are not in any way intimidated by them. So I'd always stand by. We have a police report. We have everything in order. But in this case, I took a risk. Actually, I took a risk. I was confident that Mahavara Prabhu will be able to manage the situation without me or being there all the time. So at the beginning, I spoke
Okay.
to the Hindu Sangam leaders. I spoke to the parent very little. I spoke about a short while. I say he's with us, blah blah blah. This. Then it so happened, and they wanted to speak to him in person. I may even have now thinking I myself could have suggested it. You can just speak. If he wants to go back with you, he can go back. I could have made such a statement. So I was very confident about Mahavara Prabhu. So I let them in the room. That was Guru Maharaj's room. So there were about 7 of them, two Hindu Sangam, three Hindu Sangam leaders, and Mahavara Prabhu's uncles and the ladies. So and I left him, and I didn't want to be in the room because so that they will know that I don't have any hold on him. So they had a long discussion. I didn't know exactly what went in. Mahavara Prabhu should speak about this one day. He should be. I up till
Yeah,
now I
that would
didn't
be
ask
good.
him. Up till now I didn't ask him the details of this. Maybe one day he can tell us about this. So I just closed the room and I just waited outside the door, exactly, just waiting in anxiety. What's going to happen? I took a risk. I took a chance. And I even said, you can go back with you if he decides to go back. We are not against it. It's his decision. So after the long discussion, they opened the door, and one of the Hindu Sangam leaders, his name is Tyagaraja, he passed on. He came and he just held my hands and he said, he just made like this. He said, this boy is like this, he said. He says it's real.
Wow.
He said it's really good. You people are good. I got nothing against you. He is good. I do not know what Mahavara Prabhu spoke that he convinced, because the Hindu Sangam, they also won't be happy by young boys, naturally. Nobody will
Yeah.
understand brahmacharya life or monk life. But this
Right.
this man was so convinced. He said, I'm so happy. He's very good, and he fully encouraging. So, and even his uncle and all that, they walked off, just like that. And I just like my heart just like went back to normal. Now it's okay. So Mahavara Prabhu had convinced them. Actually, he had convinced the whole group very well. It convinced the whole group. And just about 2 years, 1 year ago, we visited Mahavara Prabhu's parents, and
Mm-hmm.
and then his father, and his they were just joking with me like I was there during that time. You took my boy away.
Oh.
So that is one incident, Mahavara Prabhu. Then so when because before that, before they all joined, I used to drive Guru Maharaj. I used to do the yagyas. I used to interview the candidates. I used to practically do all these things myself. So when
Mm-hmm.
Mahavara Prabhu joined, Siva Chaitanya Prabhu joined, and of course Rasaprayana Prabhu, they were all traveling preachers most of the time. Rasaprayana Prabhu, Devdeva Prabhu, they were all traveling a lot. But when Guru Maharaj come, they always come back. Then Mahavara Prabhu started to hand over my responsibilities to Mahavara Prabhu, and he took it up very well. And from that point, he just took this service together with the other devotees, and it went so well.
Mm-hmm.
And Guru Maharaj had liked him very much. Also, he did the service very conscientiously, and
Mm-hmm.
so it went like that.
Very nice. And I think Mahavara Prabhu is one person who is, he might not speak to someone with like, a lot of passion, but I think, whatever knowledge he has gotten from, from you and from all the senior devotees, from listening to classes and all that, I think he must have been really confident, even without being like passionate, because a lot of times people who are confident, they tend to be a little bit passionate, but he is always like, in the mood of goodness, so maybe that kind of helped also. Prabhu, can we, are you still with us, Prabhu? The internet
Hare
again.
Krishna, back again. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the internet is not so good. But yeah, my last question for today, Prabhu, is
In
actually I wanted.
2008, then again, how serious is Mahavara Prabhu? So
Uh-huh.
what happened was in 2008, when we were in Malaysia, Guru Maharaj had the stroke in
Yes.
Mumbai.
Mm-hmm.
So both me and Mahavara Prabhu. Then Mahavara Prabhu was in super duper anxiety. Then he said,
Mm.
"Let's go." So both of us actually we went to
Yeah.
Mumbai. During that, the next day we were there actually.
Yeah, I remember how Mahavara Prabhu always says that allowed him to relieved him of his services in Malaysia so that he can be and with Guru Maharaj full time in
Yeah, he was
Mayapur or
doing very
wherever.
very important services here. Actually, I had a lot of things where I could, I had my plans to keep him here to do so many things, of course. But I saw Guru Maharaj service as more important, and
Yeah.
why stop him from getting the mercy? And he can do a lot for Guru Maharaj. So that was also I was very happy. Maybe because of that mercy, I'm also getting. It works like that.
Wonderful, Prabhu.
Somehow,
So
somehow
nice
the
to
Malaysia,
see.
somehow Malaysia, we had good secretaries. The first secretary was Kala Krishna Das. That was about 1980.
Yeah.
He was from Sungai Siput, and
Hmm.
he was also one of the best secretaries, and
Yeah.
very active, very thin, very slim, very fast. That was
Oh.
Kala Krishna Prabhu. Oh, the size, the shape is almost like Mahavara Prabhu.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Yeah, maybe we can get in touch with Kala Krishna Prabhu and do an interview with him as well. Janaki Raman Prabhu can arrange for that.
That'll be nice.
And
That will be nice.
yeah, I think we should. I have actually never heard of Kala Krishna Prabhu. This is the first time I'm hearing about him. And yeah, it's very nice to see how a group of devotees, are working together to not only serve the yatra, but also serve Srila Guru Maharaj. Prabhu, I wanted to ask you as my last question for today is the few aspects in bhakti yoga in Krishna consciousness is that we follow a strict sadhana, we have a right sadachar, Vaishnava etiquette, and also we do service. So these are like the components the in bhakti yoga in Krishna consciousness. Can you tell us a few things that stands out for you from Guru Maharaj on how his approach or he kind of showed example in being in sadachar, in sadhana, and in seva. I know there's so many, but what stood out for you and what is close to your heart, if you can tell us that, Prabhu.
Yeah, in my personal, on my own issues that I had, or rather questions that I had about joining the temple, and the one of the days that were when that was maybe the second day after I met Guru Maharaj, the next morning when he was going out for a walk, so it was raining, and then he just looked at the back. There were about three of us, and he just pointed his hands like he wants an umbrella, and the other two devotees, they were slow. I managed to grab an umbrella. And Guru Maharaj, when he saw me grab an umbrella, actually he looked towards another devotee, if I'm not mistaken. But
Uh-huh.
I think he was slow, no? So I just managed to grab an umbrella, and Guru Maharaj just looked and he walked, and I followed him. So
Uh-huh.
during that time, and Guru Maharaj, the way Guru Maharaj handled the question which I asked,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a sensitive question, no doubt, because I was also associating with the Gaudiya Math devotees,
Uh-huh.
Saraswat Math,
Mm-hmm.
Saraswat Math, and same time with ISKCON. So I'd read many of Sridhar Swami, Bhakti Rakshak Srila Deva Goswami's books, and also reading Prabhupada's books.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to be very clear. Now I'm already deciding to move into the temple, so I better
Yeah.
ask this question to Guru Maharaj. So I
Mm-hmm.
asked Guru Maharaj the question, and he answered in the most simplest of the ways, without any, anything to say negative about the Saraswat Math. At the same time, he established that we are serving Srila Prabhupada and we are focused on this. And Prabhupada went to the West, Prabhupada went all over the world, he preached. So he made things so clear for me. And I just accepted his, answer so nice. And I was very convinced by what Guru Maharaj said. I didn't have this question anymore in my mind. And I had asked this question to many other devotees before. Of course, devotees, they are very gung ho at this. So the question remained actually. Even the answers were good, but the
Yeah.
question remained. But Guru Maharaj gave an answer which I didn't have this question anymore in my mind. Similarly, like that, I've seen him handle situations in a very cool way. In Ipoh, we had a major problem, a very major problem that was around 1990, something like that, or 80, 88, around that time. Yeah, around that time. And so the temple was run by another Kirtananda Swami followers and Hansadutta Swami followers that time. So then they were handing the temple back to us. Rohini Kumar Swami at His Holiness Rohini Kumar Swami met Guru Maharaj and said, why don't you all take the temple and manage? So that was being given to us and the life members. So there were some issues again. So we had a meeting with the whole congregation of Ipoh. There was one of this person who was very, challenging towards Guru Maharaj. But Guru Maharaj just dealt with him in a very easy way, and all life members, everybody saw it. And after the meeting, they said, we'll give it to Jayapataka Swami, Guru Maharaj, GBCs to manage the center. So like this, in many occasions, I've seen how Guru Maharaj dealt with issues. Like the famous issue is with the how we the Hindu Sangam, we were having problem. That's a long story. I don't think I want to. But just Guru Maharaj just basically with solved the problem just by his personality and dealing with this And even in the royal family, the Muslim royal family of Perlis and Kelantan had visited Guru Maharaj for the Janmashtami 1996. They came about, the princess, the young princess of these two states and their wives. So there were a total of 4 of them. And they came, and then Guru Maharaj, we had a very good session, and Guru Maharaj answered questions in such a way they were very pleased actually. They were very pleased. I remember they asked the question about Guru Maharaj, why are you having this shikha? They asked about vegetarianism and shikha. So they asked this, and Guru Maharaj gave an amazing answer, which I never heard anyone before, even now, giving such an answer. He said that, this is a shikha. He said, actually, every one of us have it. Every religion has it. He said, if you take the monks of China, they have big ones. The Buddhist monks, not the Buddhist, the Chinese monks, they have big ones. Then he said, you take the Jews, the rabbis, they have a cap here. You take the Muslims, they have the kropia. The rabbis, they have a cap. You get the Punjabis, they close. So he said, this is the chaste part of the head, which has to be covered, and they could easily understand this, what he said, all religions, this is called the chaste part of the head.
That's a fabulous answer, but I think we lost you again. But yeah, I think we
Hare
lost you
Krishna, can you
momentarily
hear
there,
me?
Prabhu. Yeah, but I heard you about the answer
Hare
about
Krishna.
what Guru Maharaj said about shikas, and that's a very, very fabulous answer. And I think he was being very inclusive so that people can
Exactly.
understand.
Exactly, the way he answered
Yeah.
was amazing. They just accepted it. They were very happy. And then the wives of the princess, both of them, one of them saw me because I had to come in and go out, come in and go out. And each time I came in and went out, I paid obeisances. So then after meeting Guru Maharaj, when they came out, she called me. She said, when I saw you, I was so impressed. She said, each time you saw your Guru, you paid your respects. So I could understand, as a royal family, they can understand these things much better than anybody else, the amount of respects to be given to higher personalities. And they were very cordial, very
Yeah,
wonderful, people.
that's right. Yeah, I think,
Don't bring please.
yes. He's just, just woke up. Okay. But yes, Prabhu, it's very nice to hear how Guru Maharaj deals with different people.
The issue in
I have,
Spain, he dealt with the issue in Spain actually.
yes, and I
That
remember that whenever Guru Maharaj comes to Malaysia, there used to be a lot of dignitaries who come and visit him. Like I think the ambassador of Venezuela to
yes,
Malaysia,
you are
Maruchi
right.
Prabhu brings him. Yeah.
Yeah. In Spain, just about exactly today or yesterday, 39, 31 years ago, whatever, uh, you know, uh, he was about to leave and he couldn't leave because he was in the police case. So, but he wanted to leave Spain so much. But the British Airways didn't allow him because he's a medical patient and anything goes wrong, they'll be in trouble. So this officer was so strict at the Spanish, Madrid airport. And, Guru Maharaj was pleading and all that. She said, no, no, no. Finally, Guru Maharaj said, what's the problem? She said, you're a patient. You cannot fly. Something will go wrong. Guru Maharaj just put both his hands on top of a counter and he did push-ups, push-ups. He pushed up and down, up and down. He was sick. He just come out of hospital
Mm.
and he just went up, down, up. He did so many times, I'll tell you. Then he jumped up a few times, something like that, and he showed his fit. He said, are you convinced? Something like that. He said, I'm fit. And the lady looked at him. She couldn't believe. She couldn't believe
Wow.
what she was doing. And
Just
then
for,
still she didn't
just for the
allow.
sake of preaching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she still didn't allow. Then
Oh.
Guru Maharaj say, I'll speak to your officer. So she
Mm-hmm.
rang London and then she spoke to the officer. And then the officer finally, Guru Maharaj convinced the officer and she said, give the phone back to this lady. And this officer took the phone. She heard a boss say, he can fly. So when she kept the phone, she just did this and bang her feet down. She said, you can fly. She said, I have never seen anything
Amazing.
like this.
So proud of Guru Maharaj,
That's Guru
Prabhu,
Maharaj.
yeah. Prabhu is such an
That was exactly like,
amazing.
that was exactly September 19 around this time, yesterday, I think,
Yeah, that's right.
20, 31 years ago.
Wow. Prabhu, it was such a pleasure to talk to you. I apologize for all the interruptions that was in between this interview. Apologize to you and our viewers.
No,
And is there any questions, Janaki Raman Prabhu, that we can ask Prabhu from the viewers? So if there are no questions, I think we can end today's session. I know Simheswara Prabhu has got a lot more to talk about in terms of Guru Maharaj's pastimes in Malaysia and other places. Maybe Prabhu, next week or in 2 weeks, we can talk to you again because you have covered the main things. But what we want to know from you is like some other pastimes of Guru Maharaj that you may know of, that will be a good lesson for all of us. And so thank you, Prabhu, and thank you to everyone who tuned in today. And till we meet again next week.
yes, we are back.
Malaysian internet is not so good, I think.
Is it a Malaysian? Oh, I thought not Malaysian. I saw.
Anyway, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Prabhu. It was such a pleasure to talk to you today. And
Thank you so much. Yeah.
yes, and thank you for all your
Thank you
guidance
so much.
to me and my family as well.
Yeah, I'm always your servant. We just had a nice program with your sister. She's very, very active.
Yes, that's right. I saw that. Thank you for being so encouraging. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, extend humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.